is if you can see this, especially people in the back. Can you recognize what this is? A dime. This is 10 cents. And the real question is, what can you buy with 10 cents? Nothing. Even a beggar would be insulted if you give them 10 cents, right? But no matter where you are in life, in Victoria or in Syria, rich or poor, educated or illiterate, your life can turn on a dime. Right? 5 years ago, if I was introducing myself to you, I would say, hi, my name is Mohammed Alsaleh. I'm a medical student in Syria, on my way to becoming a cancer specialist. Today, I can only say, hi, my name is Mohammed Alsaleh. I am a refugee from Syria. See how your plans, your dreams, and your life can turn on a dime? Nobody knows this better than me. And the 68 million other refugees that are kicked around our world like soccer balls. Actually, these refugee numbers are increasing by 30,000 a day. And by 2040, will rise to 300 million. By the time I finish talking to you today, 1,000 more people will be forcibly displaced. More people are displaced today than during the Second World War. But nobody is treating this crisis on a war footing. If you put all refugees in a country of their own, it will be twice the population of Canada. Now, many people think that refugees are just opportunists, poor, unemployed, dark-skinned people living in sad conditions in the third world. They lie to get asylum so they can get here and partake in the riches of the West. Nothing could be further from the truth. So before you think that refugees like me come only from poor and war-ravaged countries, let me first give you the dictionary definition of a refugee. A refugee is a person that has been forced to leave their country because of war, persecution, or natural disaster, unquote. Thus, refugees are people that have been uprooted by external circumstances against their will from their homes, cultures, family, and friends. And when that happens, an ordinary person suddenly becomes a refugee, seeking refuge. Nobody plans to become a refugee. I didn't plan to become a refugee. Like every young man, I actually had lofty dreams. Now, some of you might be wondering, do people in Syria have dreams? Yes, they do. My childhood dreams evolved from first being a Superman, and then I wanted to become the soccer player, Zinedine Zidane. But finally, I decided to become an astronaut. Crazy dreams. But in my teens, I lost my favorite cousin to cancer. And I kept asking, why couldn't they cure her? And I kept hearing the same answer. Cancer cannot be cured. So I changed my dream. I wanted to become a doctor and find a cure for cancer. By 2011, my dream was half realized because I was a fourth-year medical student. And by that time, I had already fulfilled my newest dream, to own a smartphone. And then one day, my life turned upside down. Just like that dime. Where is it? Then, once my life turned upside down, just like that dime. I am in the central square in the ancient city of Homs, Syria. There are crowds that are chanting and demonstrating against the atrocities of the Assad regime. So I take my phone and I started filming the uprising. But suddenly, two burly policemen tackled me to the ground. Terrorist! Terrorist! They shout at me. They start hitting me on my head and on my face. With every blow, I felt like there was a shock going through my body. I could feel my blood dripping down my neck and shirt. I could see my white shirt turning red. I tried to tell the policeman, I'm just a medical student, not a terrorist. But I can hardly speak because they are choking me and I'm crying in pain. When one policeman tried to grab my phone from my hand, so I resist. They started hitting me even harder, and then one of them pulls his gun and puts it to my head. And that's when I had to let go of my phone. Whew. From that moment, and over the next 2 years, I endure unspeakable torture in overcrowded, cockroach-infested jail cells. There were many days when I barely remembered my name. Suicide was a very tempting option, but the only reason that kept me alive were thoughts of my family. To escape from this hellhole, I used to close my eyes and picture the face of my mother and her strength as she single-handedly raised me and my 5 siblings. The memories from the pranks my siblings and I played on each other is what kept me amused for hours. I knew they would be looking for me, worrying where I was. And I just wished I could see them one last time. Remember, there is no love like the love of your family. All this pain and all this suffering only because I was taking photos of the uprising, wanting to share them with the world to see. Little did I know that a cell phone would put me in a cell in a prison. In 2013, 2 years into this ordeal in and out of prison, I managed to buy my way out of jail. Only because my mother was able to raise enough funds by selling our family home. The only reason I stand before you in 2018 is that I got lucky. I am one of the first Syrian refugees that Canada accepted. Oh, Canada. Thank you. And you, Canadians. I love you so much, and I will always be grateful to you. But enough about me, my family, and my phone. Let's talk about what you can do to give help and refuge to refugees. But wait, there is a more intriguing thought. Is it possible that you one day might become a refugee? And if so, what can you do today to avoid becoming one? Now remember, 1/3 of the 68 million forcibly displaced people, 1/3 was displaced because of climate-related events, global warming, rising water tables, and water shortages. These are the main reasons. Beautiful Cape Town, South Africa, is expected to run out of water any moment. Right here, Richmond, BC, a major suburb of Vancouver and the location of the airport, is only 3 feet above sea level. Only 3 feet away from a disaster can be caused by rising water levels. Victoria is no better. Add to that wars, persecution, ethnic cleansing, the nuclear threat from North Korea, the terrorism problem in the Middle East, Donald Trump in the White House. The list is just growing. We are in the eye of one of history's perfect storms, because the refugee crisis is no longer a single cause, a single country problem. It's no longer a third world problem or somebody else's problem. The refugee crisis is coming to a doorstep near you. So instead of dealing with the fallout, why don't we fix the root causes? This is not a refugee problem. Refugees are the outcome of the problem. Now, on a collective level, we should all strive to have stable governments, take care of our environment, and get rid of nuclear weapons. But these are huge problems that you and I cannot solve in one day. But what you can do today is change your perception of refugees. By one, seeing refugees differently, as worthy human beings on this one big, beautiful planet. Number two, welcome refugees, care for them, and treat them humanely. If you are an employer, hire refugees. If you have an empty room, offer it to a refugee. If you can sponsor a BVR case, participate in the sponsorship of refugees. We have a case that is ready. You don't even need money. You just have to volunteer your time helping this case, saving a family of 5. We can do a lot. Number three, instead of thinking about the refugee influx as a problem, think of it as a solution. There are many jobs here that locals don't want. On the other hand, we have refugees who are motivated and would do anything to start a new life. Since the government of Canada changed its perception of refugees in 2015, Canada has welcomed 50,000 refugees from Syria alone. Other countries that are holding back should do the same. My plans to become a cancer specialist might be on hold right now. But that doesn't mean I can't save or change lives. Today, as Sabine mentioned, I work for the RSTB, the Refugee Sponsorship Training Program. My job is to provide information and training support to people who are sponsors or people who are interested in sponsorship. And I'm so happy to tell you that my own application to sponsor a Syrian family have just been approved. Now guess who that family is? My own mother and my 5 siblings. From doctor to terrorist to a refugee, and now to a new Canadian sponsoring refugees. Just like me, your life can turn on a dime. I was lucky enough, and Canada was kind enough to welcome me. But millions of others are not so lucky. One refugee is one refugee too many. And remember, Every refugee story, behind every statistic, is a human story of immense struggles, families torn apart, and dreams crushed. So show your humanity. Do what you can to help refugees. Sponsor your own refugees. Who knows, one day you or someone close to you could become a refugee. And who knows, one day a refugee could still become a cancer specialist and save your life.